Let me quickly talk to you about how to get a huge personal loan from Bank of the West with bad or fair credit. Don't go anywhere. You're going to love today's conversation. I guarantee it. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Studio Kiwi Show. How are you today? I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous. If you were to ask me, if you are doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. In today's conversation, I want to speak to you about how to get approved for a huge personal loan from Bank of the West with bad or fair credit. And the first thing you need to understand is the loan details. Very critical. So Bank of the West is a great bank. They have personal loans, and the personal loans, the amounts range from $2,000 to $50,000. And you can use the loan for anything. You can use the loan to cover wedding expenses, finish home improvement projects, pay for medical bills, and more. The choice is yours, not a problem. And you can apply online. You can apply also at a branch. You can apply over the phone. One thing they just want you to have, not one thing, a few things they need you to have before applying is you need to have on hand your asset information, 2 years of verifiable income history. As long as you make about between $25,000 to $30,000 a year, that's fine. That's gross though. Gross income to $25,000 to $30,000, that's fine. They also want you to have your debt information and your social security number or taxpayer identification number. So asset information, 2 years of verifiable income history, debt info, and your social. So you can see that they want to have your balance sheet, because on your balance sheet, you're going to have your asset information and your debt information. And the thing here is that this loan, you have terms that go all the way to 60 months. That's 5 years. You have fixed rates, no prepayment penalty, and you can get a 0.5% rate discount when you set up an automatic payment from a Bank of the West deposit account at the time of loan closing. So you have an auto pay, a discount auto pay. This is pretty good. And one thing I want to say also is that even though the bank wants you to have a credit score that goes from 700 all the way to 850, you can still qualify if you follow the step that I'm going to show you into this conversation. They have known to approve people who have FICO scores as low as 545. Did you hear that? 545. Let me ask you a question. Quick decision time, big decision time. Do you have a cosigner right now? You have a cosigner? Wonderfully, because if you have a cosigner, then you can even increase your chances of being approved. Remember, though, that you have to be at least 18 years of age, and you must reside in the bank's 19-state retail footprint. One thing we have seen is that Bank of the West is a national lender, but their core geography covers 19 specific states. But if you have a question, call them up, and they'll let you know if you can qualify based on your location. Step number 2, if you want to get a large personal loan from Bank of the West with bad or fair credit, you need to estimate your payments. So you can use the bank's personal loan calculator to estimate your payments. Let's just do 3 scenarios here: worst case, average case, and best case. So I want you to look on the screen right now. So the worst case, you're getting $30,000, 10% APR, 5 years to repay. Okay, can you see that? So you can see that basically your initial payment will be $637. And so this is the amount. Of course, here they put the home equity line of credit, but the calculation is the same. It doesn't really matter whether you have a HELOC or a loan. They use the same criteria. So your payment will be $637. That's for the worst case scenario. What about the average case? So you have $30K, 6%, and 5 years. In this case, your initial payment will be $580. Okay. And then let's go to the ideal case. You have here $30K, 4%, 5 years. In that case, your payment will be $552. Now, I've just laid out the foundation of the analysis here. 3 quick things you need to know. If you have poor or fair credit, you will not get less than 10% APR unless you secure the loan, right? Because this numbers 4%, 6%, and 8% are for folks who have a stellar credit, good or exceptional credit. And one thing you need to pay attention to, that so that's the first thing. Make sure that you are realistic about the loan, the APR you can get. The second thing is you need to see how the payments fit into your budget. I just did this to give you an idea. So if you're getting $30K and you have poor or fair credit, you might be paying around $800 a month if you have 5 years. Can this fit into your credit? Can this fit into your budget rather? Do you have room, liquidity room in your budget to repay that loan? So this is the kind of question you need to think about. And the third thing you need to think about is whether or not the loan term is compatible with your future financial situation in terms of employment, family situation, kids, vacations. Will the loan payment be sustainable to take on additional debts? Or even if you don't take additional debt, will it be sustainable to take on this particular loan from Bank of the West? What about your DTI, your debt to income ratio? So those are things you need to really think about before you decide whether or not you want to get approved for a personal loan from Bank of the West with bad or fair credit. Step number 3, folks, you need to actually explore other Bank of the West loans. The cool thing here is that if you don't qualify for one loan, you can qualify for the other, right? So even though the topic here is to get approved for a large personal loan from Bank of the West with fair or bad credit, there are other loans that you might qualify for. So Bank of the West has a car loan. Here you can get car financing from $7,500 and up. You have RV loan. So you can get RV financing from $10,000 all the way to $2 million. Then you have boat loans. And the cool thing here is that Bank of the West really specializes in boat loans for all types of new and used marine vessels. And one thing I want to say in general here is that even if you don't, because you can see that those three loans that I just spoke to you about, they are all secure loans. They're all collateralized loans. Whether you have a car loan, an RV loan, or a boat loan, all these are collateralized by the underlying asset, whether it is a vehicle, an RV vehicle, or a boat. But it's interesting to consider that because Bank of the West has great rates when it comes to collateralized loans. So if you don't get the unsecured loans I'm speaking to you about today, you can try to get the secured loan. And please make sure you open a bank account with them. And I'm going to speak about that later on. It's important to have a bank account, at least one, because then you can actually have all the benefits, including the 0.25% auto pay discount. And this really makes a lot of difference. You might be thinking, well, it's only 0.25% off. But guess what? If you have a loan for 5 years or 7 years, all those cents and dollars, they do add up. You could save a lot of cash from the APR that you'll be saving. So this is kind of important. And make sure that you constantly, for any loan that you want to get approved for at the Bank of the West, that you have what I told you, 2 years of verifiable income history, your asset information, your debt information, and your security number. Even if you have an ITIN, they'll take that too. So if you have an individual taxpayer identification number, in other words, you are not a U.S. citizen or green card holder, but you want to get a loan from Bank of the West, not a problem. Step number 4, folks, you really want to forge a relationship with Bank of the West. I want you to look right now on the screen. Do you see what I see on the screen? Bank of the West is a financial colossus. They offer a lot of products. You can see on the screen, this is the side map of their, we just took this screenshot of their side map. So they offer checking accounts, savings accounts, CDs, IRA CDs. They have mobile banking, online banking. They have a lot of stuff. My point here is that you need to forge a relationship with Bank of the West to be able to qualify from their loan. You need to create something called an MPR, a multi-product relationship. So trying to have at least one checking account from Bank of the West. So they have any deposit checking, 1% for the Planet, Premier checking. By the way, 1% for the Planet, that's an account name. That's a bank account name. They also offer a savings account. So they have a choice money market savings, classic savings. For their CDs, their certificates of deposit, they have flexible term CD, and they have premium certificate deposits, premium certificate of deposits. And they have IRA CDs, so they have the premium IRA certificate of deposit. the flexible IRA CD, and the IRA add-on CD. And for investing, Bank of the West has a brokerage department, so you can also actually invest with them, and they give you a lot of tools to help you invest like a pro. So you can actually buy everything from stocks, ETFs, mutual funds, and more. You can trade on mobile or desktop. You can they have a great interface for research tools, market data, and insights. What's my point here? My point is that even though we are talking about how to get approved for a personal loan, a large personal loan from Bank of the West with bad or fair credit, the first step is to establish a relationship with Bank of the West. Especially if you don't have a stellar credit score. So try to open at least 2 or 3 asset accounts. That way you can establish an MPR, a multi-product relationship. You can open a checking account, you can open a savings account, and you can open a CD. If you do those 3 things, what will happen is that even though they're asking for a minimum credit score of 700, they'll be able to approve you and go all the way back to 545. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another section of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. I'm still having a conversation with you today about how to get approved for a large personal loan from Bank of the West with poor or fair credit. Step number 5, you want to check your credit score. It is so important, folks. I mean, I can never tell you like how tired we are in our team to see folks who believe that they have a low credit score, just to realize after checking that they actually have a pretty good credit score. Because the thing here is a lot of folks, they check their credit score maybe once a year or when they get denied for credit card or loan applications. But you got to make it a routine to check your credit score. That way, you can catch a lot of things right off the bat. For example, if you are a victim of identity theft, you can catch it so that you can lock your credit score and nobody can open credit accounts under your name without your authorization. You can also dispute inaccuracies. If there are inconsistencies in your credit report, you can contact the 3 bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, and have a conversation with them. Or you can contact the lender or the data provider so they can remove the derogatory item on your credit report. You can also actually find ways to benefit from opportunities, credit card offers, loan offers. If you know you have good credit, let's say you were thinking so far that you have your credit score was say 600, and you realize that no, you have 780 or 700. Think about the difference that can make in your life in terms of getting the best credit arrangements. One thing I also want to say here is that it is free. You can actually go to a website called annualcreditreport.com, which by law has to give you a free copy of your credit report once a year. And you get a free copy from each of the 3 credit bureaus. And you can also sign up for free services such as Credit Karma, Nav, NerdWallet. Those websites allow you to get access to your credit report for free all year long in exchange for your data. Or you can also contact if you have a credit card right now, you can get, if you are with Discover or Bank of America or Citi or Chase, you can have a copy of your credit score at any time, as long as your account is current. Step number 6, folks, you need to contact Bank of the West. Folks, I'm speaking to you about how to get a large personal loan from Bank of the West with poor or fair credit. Big decision time. How much do you want to borrow? Talk to me. How much should you borrow? What is your current debt load? What is your DTI? So when you contact Bank of the West, you are actually eliminating some of the uncertainty. You can ask all questions that you want before even applying, because I know a lot of people think, oh well, I just want to apply for this loan online because I ain't got no time. I really don't want to waste my time going to a branch and sitting with a banker. But guess what, my friend? You're making a huge mistake. If you have bad or fair credit, you better rely on human interaction because the algorithm doesn't like you. The algorithm doesn't like your profile, and the algorithm will reject you as fast as Usain Bolt. The whole thing here is, or if the algorithm approves you, they will give you a very crappy APR, prohibitively high APR, and you don't want that. This is why you want to go to Bank of the West, to go to the nearest branch, or you can call them and have a conversation with a banker and ask a few questions. For example, how long will it take to get the money? Can I qualify based on my credit score? They can do a soft pull in some cases. What kind of credit score do they need based on all the things that you have? Because they say they want 700, but as I told you, if you have a multi-product relationship with them, they could go as low as 545. So can you qualify? Do you have a 545, at least a 545 credit score? Ask them also about the term of the loan. How does the loan repayment work? What is the interest rate on the loan? Are there any fees? This is the kind of question you need to ask. And does the loan require or recommend a cosigner? Because as I said earlier, sometimes if you can't qualify for a loan because you have bad or fair credit, you might want to beef up your credit application, your application by having a cosigner or a co-borrower, whatever it is you can do to beef up the profile of or the attractiveness of your application. One thing I also want you to really think about when you talk to the Bank of the West banker is to be very clear. You want to ask them whether it is better for you to apply online or over the phone or at the branch. You want to ask them your chances of approval way before they do a hard pull on you, because the last thing you want is your FICO to lose weight unnecessarily. Number 7, folks, you want to apply. So if you want to apply for a large personal loan from Bank of the West with a fair or poor credit, after following all the steps that I just told you, you need to apply. The cool thing here is that you can apply online depending on the state where you live, but we recommend that you apply. You call them up, or that you go to the nearest branch. Right now, the core geography is in 19 states, including California, but they cover the whole nation. So you can call them at 1-866-269-2327, 1-866-269-2327, and they will be able to walk you through all the process. But the loan process is very simple. It is a trifecta. It has 3 elements. First, you fill out an application, and you can fill out the application online if you are a current Bank of the West customer. Or you can just call the number I just gave you, or you can call another number. There's another number. That's the 1-866-377-3948. 1-866-377-3948. And so once you actually submit the application, you will be notified. They will process the application. It takes about 48 to 72 hours, and you will be notified once the application is decisioned. So that's the second step. So the third step is you will finish the loan paperwork. So they will do a hard pull on you. They will on your credit, and you will need to arrange an appointment with your branch banker to close and fund your new loan. And this is where you sign a promissory note. You agree to everything else. As I've said, for all loans from Bank of America West, the requirements are pretty basic. They want to have your social or your ITIN, your ID, of course, just to make sure that you're 18 years at least. You need to have 2 years of verifiable income history. It doesn't mean you have to have a full-time job necessarily, but you have to be able to prove that your income is consistent. It's all about cash flow. So if you have a side gig or you have passive income that pays you and has been doing so for the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years, then it's fine. You need to have your asset information and your debt information. In other words, your balance sheet. Thank you so much, folks, for your attention in today's conversation. I was speaking to you about how to get approved for a large personal loan from Bank of the West with fair or poor credit. Step number 1, you want to understand the loan details. Number 2, you want to estimate your payments. Number 3, you want to explore other Bank of the West loans. Number 4, you want to forge a report with Bank of the West. Number 5, you want to check your credit score. Number 6, you want to contact Bank of the West. And number 7, you need to apply. Thank you so much for your attention once again. I will see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.